Support your Hobbit hobby.
Welcome to Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube video. You're here with James
and Jamie, and welcome to our Smaug Week video 2. Woohoo! Today we're going to be looking at the journey scenarios from the Desolation of Smaug film.
So these are the new journey scenarios. These are the ones that what the Lord of the Rings equivalent that you might come across.
Things like the Battle at Amon Hen, Escape from Moria,
Last March to the
Sacrifice of Boromir. Last March to the End.
Anyone I know off the top of my head.
Ride of the Riddermark. Those kind of scenarios that are very iconic.
Slopes of Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So we've got some here. So we're going to read them out one at a time, and then we'll go through them in detail. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 new scenarios.
Yeah.
Now there are quite a lot of people who play strategy battle game who aren't necessarily points players, aren't they?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of people like to play just the themed scenarios because they really capture that story essence, and you can create your own story.
Mm.
So you know, it's all like the what if. So what if Thorin died?
Mm.
Would they be able to continue their quest, or would they just give up there and then? What if Dwalin died? What if Fili Kili died? It's those sort of scenarios.
There's some great campaign blogs out there of people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do another shout out to Celaview, Pekka, because he's doing that. And there is also the Wargamer TV, who is a friend of ours. He's a First Aid subscriber.
Yeah.
He's doing the Hobbit ones at the moment.
He's doing the Escape from Goblin Town
with his wife.
Yes,
his wife
or girlfriend. Yeah.
His wag. Well, she won't be wife and girlfriend.
Yeah.
His wog. His wife or girlfriend.
His wog. Wow. Wow. That's.
Is that a bad word?
That's almost like. I'll tell you when we're not rolling the camera.
I am naive. His wife or girlfriend. Yeah. So yeah, there are people who just play out these scenarios because that's been an argument about SBG. Some people think that they like the idea of playing out the books and the movie, and they feel like they're reenacting. And some people don't like that, some people like that.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's part of our hobby, isn't it? So we are going to go through them now, and we're going to start off with Alone in the Woods. So you are literally going to get like our reaction here of exactly what it is.
We've not read these yet, so we'll be reading them and talking to you as we read through them. So I think what we should start off with are the participants.
Yes.
So it's a good place to start. So for the good team, in Alone in the Woods we have Beorn on his own.
Beorn. He is gorgeous, by the way.
He is good.
We'll talk about him later in the Heroes and Villains video.
Yeah, make sure you hit the link to that. That should be in the description below. Not yet though, once it's been released.
Really looking forward to getting the man model, and I'm looking forward to the bear model as well.
Yeah.
There were some leaked pictures of it. All of our videos has got your watch beeping.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them.
It's like the Where's Waldo of the videos. It's like, it beeped.
It beeped.
Timestamp,
So Beorn, you do get the bear model, and you've got the. We should be picking up the actual Beorn the man model.
The man and the bear are separate. I'm not sure if the bear's actually been released yet. I've not seen anything, but there are images in the book which you have to look in your own source book to find out.
The images in the book actually do the bear a lot more.
This image does a lot more justice. The leaked one that we've found.
This one here. So it's okay, they can't see the detail of the rules. You've got to buy this book. You've got to. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful,
beautiful. But he looks, straight away, his initial reaction.
He looks really cool in this.
Whoa, that sideways kind of view. I'm getting this model. Yeah. He's mine. He is mine. That monster size base or cavalry base?
That's a monster base.
That's a monster base.
Yeah. Beorn is a monster, so he gets all the brutal power attacks and his own special one, which we'll talk about later on.
Oh. Azog in that picture looks well and truly in trouble.
He looks kind of worried as he's swinging his mace there, to be honest.
He's like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him, especially with some of the rules, but we'll come to that soon.
So, for the evil models in this force, you have to take Azog, Nazug, 6 Hunter Orcs on Felwarg, and 12 Hunter Orcs.
And this is, the high pass leads down from the Misty Mountains into a peaceful valley, which runs through. So if you know if you read the book, which hopefully you all have, if anybody is into the hobby, and they can read, and they haven't read The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, you've got to get on it.
At least read The Hobbit, because The Hobbit's primarily a child's book, so it's very easy to read. There's not so much of the Tolkien-ish in it, where you know, checking your pronunciations and double checking because they've changed the name of a character because he's a different whatever's talking to him.
Yeah.
It's really easy to read, really fun, and you know you get sort of the feel for who these characters actually are.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that. All the audiobooks are really, really good.
Yes, yeah.
Got them. And basically, Bjorn, he kind of defends or patrols this part. He stops the freedom of movement, effectively, of orcs and sort of ambushes them. And I'm guessing this scenario is just kind of is that it's a skirmish.
Yeah.
And starting positions, place Bjorn in either his form as a man or a bear in the centre of the table. The evil player then places the model anywhere on the board more than 10 inches away from Bjorn. Okay, the objective. Bjorn must drive the orcs from his lands without losing his own life in the process.
So the game ends when either Bjorn has been slain or the evil side has been reduced to below 25%.
So it's a fight.
So it is a scrap to the death, and you're relying on Bjorn to do quite a lot against Azog. That's a tough matchup for Bjorn here. But there are some special rules to give him a help, I believe. The Ford of Karok is Bjorn's domain, and it is by his vigilance that evil is kept from the woods. In this scenario, all ancient groves are automatically Haven Woods. So this is one of the special rules for Mirkwood Woods. I believe it's probably going to give good and real benefit in them.
Yep. And that will be in another video, so stay tuned.
If he's within the Haven Wood here, it says he may re-roll unsuccessful fate rolls.
That's pretty cool.
So it's as if he's got wearing one of the elven rings, which you were right on in that other video.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like the sound of that. I might actually we could play that out.
We can probably play that out, yeah.
We can play that out because it doesn't require too many models, and I think Steve's got pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Steve's got the evil models, and I will have Bjorn in both forms. Yeah. And that seems like quite a fun one. So maybe if you want to see that recorded, and you want us to record this scenario, we'll try and do that for you maybe after Christmas.
Yes, yeah.
But let us know below if that's something you'd be keen on, because we don't want to make videos that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
That seems like quite
a nice one, yeah.
Reasonably low investment.
Low investment, and it gets you to that sounds like a good game to learn the special strikes and the brutal power attacks.
Yes. Yeah, and because Bjorn, again, we'll talk about this later on, but he does have his own special
rules and special brutal power attack, and
which would be quite good against
Azog. Yes, yeah.
Which would be quite good against Azog.
Although Azog's got 3 fate points, hasn't he? So
he has, but still.
You want to burn his fate before doing this special strike, but we'll talk about that later on.
We'll talk about that later on.
Let's go on to the next scenario.
So that was Alone in the Woods. So next up we've got Flies and Spiders.
This is one of my favourite chapters in the book, I think. Where,
yeah, it's cool.
Where Bilbo's sort of found his courage and is fighting off the spiders to protect the dwarves.
Now the participants in this is Bilbo Baggins with the One Ring and Sting, which is good. And the evil models is 6 Mirkwood spiders.
Yeah.
It's not completely unrealistic.
No, you might pick up 6 Mirkwood spiders.
Yeah.
If you wanted to include them in your army.
Or as we've mentioned before, maybe just get some monster bases.
Yeah.
And pretend.
Pretend they are. But
then at least you can enjoy the scenario and the theme of it.
Yes, you're not imagining fake spiders crawling around the place.
Yeah. I mean, unless you are a scenario player, I would recommend, unless you're planning to get spiders in your lists, actually in your army lists,
or you're a collector, then potentially maybe proxy some in just for
maybe just get a set, because I think they're gorgeous models, but we'll talk about the profile later on. Maybe we should have done the profiles
first. No, I think if we did the profiles first, people wouldn't watch these videos.
Would you watch? Would you watch? Let us know. And remember, you could be listening to this video as well, because it's just us two talking.
Yeah.
And we are sorting out a podcast.
We are, yes. Oh.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, so as Jamie says, this is where Bilbo finds his courage in the woods. He's fighting off the spiders.
Yep.
Starting positions. This battle takes place deep within the twisted undergrowth of Mirkwood. So again,
you're going to have those Mirkwood forests.
These sound really interesting. I'm looking forward to reading
what they actually are.
You've got to read that. We've not looked in depth at this. This really is our reaction. So a lot of this is kind of like teasing us for the rest of the book. So the evil player places 3 markers on the board. 2 of these represent dwarves. The other is a decoy. The evil player selects this in secret. This may be placed in any terrain.
It's going to be in a wood, isn't it?
Yeah, even if the trees in your scenery look scalable. He then positions his Mirkwood spiders at least 6 inches away from one or the other. So this is to represent the spiders. They captured
the dwarves.
And Bilbo's got to go and do the business. So the objective, Bilbo's got to rescue the dwarves, effectively. And he wins the game by freeing the dwarves, by revealing both the correct markers. So you've got to try and guess which ones.
Yes, yeah.
And obviously, if he's slain, the evil player wins instead. There's no way to draw, it's do or die. I think that seems quite fun.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun. Again, gives you an opportunity to learn some of the new rules.
Yeah, it's got some special rules for this scenario as well.
Yeah, do you want to go through the special rules?
Yeah. So you got Atacop Lazy Lob, which is, I think, something that you start shouting around to confuse the spiders in the books, and we'll probably see it in the film. But, oh wow. In a turn that Bilbo charges, he receives +1 fight value and +1 attack.
Nice, beast.
So I think that's going to take him, without giving too much away, above the fight value of the spiders.
Yeah. Is he fight value?
Yes.
So that'll take him to fight
So
value.
that'll take him to fight value, yes.
Which
makes him better than the spiders.
makes him better than the spiders.
Yeah. And he gets +1 attack, so he gets 2 strikes rather than his 1. Also, his throwing stones ability becomes a throwing weapon, not move or shoot. So when he charges in, he can throw his stones at them, or if he's not in range to charge, he can throw a stone in the move phase. And I think hobbits have a native shoot value of 3+, so he's going to be hitting quite reliably.
That's quite good. And this old Tom Noddy can't spy me, that's more the confusing kind of rule.
Yeah, so this is where he's wearing the 1 ring. Each turn the evil player must take a courage test for each spider prior to moving it. If the test is passed, the evil player rolls a further d6, and the number rolled is the number of inches the spider can move. If the test is failed, the good player gets to move the Mirkwood spider that d6 inches.
That's quite good, so it represents them not really knowing where they're going.
They can sort of smell him, they know sort of where he's around, but they've got no surefire way of finding him. Because I imagine if you were able to move them,
it's good.
If you were able to move them normally, they could charge him relatively easily, and obviously you've got that problem of just being ganged up on, and you've got the sheer number of dice versus his 1, and I think Bill would go down quite quick in that scenario.
Yeah, that's nice. It's good, it's fluffy as well.
Yeah. Rescuing dwarves. Oh wait, what's it? The spiders may not move off the battlefield and must always move the full amount rolled, only stopping if they move into base contact with
yeah, so if you take control you can't get them off.
You can't run them away, yeah.
Rescuing the dwarves.
Amidst the tangled roots and branches, the dwarves are imprisoned. If Bilbo Baggins is touching your marker in the end of the phase, on a 3+, the evil player must remove the marker and reveal it if it is any concealed dwarves.
That's cool.
That's cool. I'd quite like to see the dwarves suddenly get into the fight.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like if there was some way of randomising what dwarves there were.
There's another good thing about these, I think this next one, part 2.
It's probably the...
Part 2 is, yeah. So, as Jamie says, when the dwarves are freed, you can effectively go into the next part of this scenario, which is Flies and Spiders, part 2. And in this one, suddenly you have the whole of Thorin's company as participants, as well as Legolas,
Toriel,
and we'll be talking about their profiles later on, and 24 Mirkwood Rangers.
Yeah. Now,
against 18 Mirkwood Spiders.
18 Mirkwood Spiders.
Immediately,
that is a big ask for one scenario. I mean, no, what, £22 for 2?
£22
so
for 2.
You're looking at £198.
So just for spiders.
Just for the spiders.
And then for 24 Mirkwood Rangers, you need to buy 3 packs. So that's another 75 quid.
It almost seems that 24 Mirkwood Rangers as if they designed this scenario with 12 models per pack in mind. It seems strange that they would, because 12's been the standard for every infantry set. So it sounds like when they designed the scenario, it was going to be 12 to a box. And then maybe they decided that the sculpts wouldn't fit in the mould process.
No, I still think it's them bringing it all in line with
Warhammer
and stuff. Yeah. And if you've got to buy, if you need 24, you need to buy 3 boxes.
Yeah, maybe.
You've got to spend more, haven't you? And it's got Legolas and Toriel.
Yeah. So
it's two for war bands.
Two, yeah.
So this is going to be an expensive one, but a good thing about any kind of journey scenario is this can be like the platform for you to sort of use your own creativity.
Yeah. So you might want to scale this scenario down to suit your sort of monetary ability.
Your budget.
Your budget, yeah.
Yeah.
So you might buy, say, those 6 spiders you bought for the previous one, you might want to scale it down to that. So maybe you don't include the new elves, you include just a couple of Thorin's company. Or maybe you include all the elves and things and you buy them all. Or, anywhere in between. It just gives you that platform, as you said, to sort of build your own scenario from it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, in this layout, it's deep within the twisted growth of Mirkwood, so again, it's giving you a chance to play these rules.
Those wood special rules.
And the starting positions, Bilbo Baggins and the Dwarves, they start within 6 inches of the centre of the board. Yeah. Evil player are 10 inches away from the good models. Now there are some special rules to represent the fact that the Dwarves, they've just been freed, but they're quite sick.
Yeah.
They're not particularly able to defend themselves very well because they've been poisoned. Yeah. Now the objectives, the elves are not so much concerned with the welfare of the Dwarves. They're more focused on killing the spiders.
Yeah.
So is it? No, that's. Just wondering if there were 3 players in this scenario.
Yeah.
There's not. The goal of this scenario is to drive off the spiders and protect Thorin's company. Yeah. So yeah. So although,
if you were playing it narratively and thematically, it would actually be quite a good game for 3 players to get involved with. I think if one was controlling Thorin's company, one was controlling the elves and one was controlling the spiders.
Yeah, it'd be quite cool.
You could have sort of the... Oh, we're going to have focus, we're back in. You could have the elf player solely concentrating on killing these spiders and maybe helping out Thorin's company when it suits him. So say if Dwalin's charged in, well yeah, I'll throw an elf in there because Dwalin's going to kill this spider and I want to help him out do that. But you know, if, say, I don't know, Bomber charges a spider and he's not got a very good chance of winning, you might just go, well, he's tied up that spider, I'm going to jump on this one, kill this one. So I think this would be a great game with 3 players, and that way you can sort of spread the cost out a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we could do that at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, if something that you would like to see.
Yeah.
Again, let us know, comment below. Now this is actually kind of like a timed game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you've got after 10 turns. Yeah, you've got a turn limit. So you've got 10 turns. If there are more good heroes alive than dead, including Bilbo and Thorin, the good player wins. So you've got to keep Bilbo alive, got to keep Thorin alive, and you want to keep more of your heroes alive.
Yeah.
Some quite easy ways of doing that.
13, 14, 15 heroes, so if 8 models die, 8 of your heroes die, you can't win.
I think it's quite hard for the evil to win this.
Yes, yeah, I actually do as well.
It's really hard for the evil to win. 18
until you read the special rules.
Ah, yes, this is a good point.
No. The first one is poison sickness, so all the dwarves are still sort of overcoming their effects of being poisoned. And you roll a dice for each dwarf at the start of the movement phase. On a 1 to 3, they count as being transfixed, so they're going to halve their fight value and halve their attacks, rounding upwards. If they're all 4+, they act as normal.
Not just that, they start with no might or no will.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes a big difference.
That does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you just might everything up and secure kills with might, wouldn't you?
Even then, I would put money on Legolas and Toriel and 24 Mirkwood Rangers, maybe beating 18 spiders. What do you reckon?
No.
Would you not?
No, I don't think so. Maybe, oh no, they've got the bit of a spoiler here, they've got 100% bows in that list, so yeah. Yeah, I'd probably give it to them.
Yeah, I think they might, but you know, hopefully you guys are going to go out there, get the models. If you want to do a variation of this, let us know. We're actually doing a new type of video, a new video series called Bedtime Bat Reps. Yeah. And what we want to see is we want you guys submitting to us pictures of battle reports or scenarios that you've done with a nice narrative that you've written out, and we will be reading out one of these per week. And it'd be really good to see some people doing some of the new
scenarios. Yeah.
New scenarios. We'd like to see that. So let us know, because you might play these long before we do.
Yeah.
And you've also got Woodland Warriors. Legolas, Greenleaf, and Toriel have led the band of elves. At the end of phase of turn 1, the good player places all the elves.
Yeah. So the spiders are going to have 1 turn, perhaps about 3 turns before the elves really get stuck in. So you got to make sure you want to get your spiders engaged in combat so they can't be shot by anyone but Legolas.
Yeah. One thing that might help
this is the
spiders against the shooting is the amount of woods.
The suggested terrain is just literally cover the board in woods.
Which should be nice. Yeah. Fluffy.
It's really to slow the dwarves down.
Spider King. The area swarms with spiders. So, in this scenario, all ancient groves are automatically spider-infested wood. This means an evil player must roll a d6 at the end of each of his move phase for each ancient grove on the table. A roll of a 6, a Mirkwood spider is placed within that ancient...
That sounds
this is the bit that balances it out. So it's almost like a goblin scribe.
Yeah, but for woods.
But for woods, for spiders.
Be interested to see if that's something that tournaments include. Where they say like woods in this table are ancient groves. I seem to have to do it for all woods across all tables. Because if
you have to roll for it, surely.
Oh yeah. You need to see
what kind of wood it turns into. That's like a 40k thing, isn't it?
That's 40k and Fantasy have done that with their woods.
This is Games Workshop. We might be doing it the same way. You've got to roll, but we'll come to that. So next up, we've got Barrels Out of Bond. Now you will have seen the, well hopefully you'll have seen, especially if you saw our leaked images.
Guess what's just arrived at the store for us?
Woohoo! One of our toys!
Miniatures have arrived!
You know what that means, don't you? Once we've
this video's over.
Once we finish going through these scenarios, we'll nip down there, we'll go get our stuff and we'll do a couple of unboxings for you.
Excellent.
As well as obviously
quickly rush through all the scenarios.
So Barrels Out of Bond, that's a pretty good scenario, and part 2 is quite good as well.
And
Battle of Dimrill Down, that seems a bit boring.
Yeah.
And Battle of Dimrill Down, oh that seems better.
Yeah.
And
let's have to link you games.
Yeah, and number 3. So, right, so we will see you later. No, let's do this.
We'll get through it. It's going to be there all day. So.
Barrels Out of Bond is a set that you can buy. It's quite expensive.
It's £40.
But they are beautiful.
They're great. We were actually discussing the best way to get a use out of them at the tournament, and this is going to make us sound terrible people. But it's to.
Have I discussed this?
No, you've not discussed this.
Because I'm not Power Game.
This was Ed Ball and I. Oh, we're gone. We're going a bit mental. Zoom.
Yeah, you can edit this out.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
This was Ed Ball and I discussing how to use the Barrels Out of Bond set, and because they are official licensed Games Workshop models, and the fact that they are half height of the actual dwarves, is to use them as Thorin's company, or use Dwarlin, mount him on a cavalry-sized base, put a pony next to him maybe, and have him as Dwarlin on pony, but have him on the barrel so you can't see him that well. It's all legit.
Cheese!
Yes.
Cheese!
This was actually
cheddar cheese.
This was Ed's idea, and I was like,
not coming out with that.
Yeah.
This one here was having an argument with me on Facebook last night about like how somehow I'm a cheesy player because I bring all mounted Rohan lists
and tree beards, 300 points. I was like, Jamie, let's have a fun game before you go off to Scotland. A tree beard.
And again, I mentioned this before. The really funny thing is that I genuinely thought that I was doing that to be nice. I did.
Genuinely.
I was like, right, okay, if I bring like 3 models, you're well going to beat me. You didn't beat me though, so that's right.
I was kicking your ass until your phone ran out of battery.
So anyway, Barrels Out of Bond.
Yep.
So obviously you're going to need a river for this. The participants...
A very big river by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks massive. It's got a bit... Oh, I've actually seen somebody building this on the forum. If you go on the One Ring, someone has actually built a table like this. Quick work. He like posted up, I'm going to start this today, and then later on in his workshop...
2 hours later, I've made it!
It looked really, really cool. I can't remember what the guy's called.
Well, if we hunt it down, hopefully we'll get a link below in the description so you can go see how that work in progress is.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. So the good models, the participants, you've got Legolas, Toriel, 20 Mirkwood Rangers.
So you've already got them from the last game?
Bilbo Baggins on a barrel, and 13 dwarves in barrels.
Yep.
So the investment there, you're looking at 40, you're looking at 90, you're looking at about 110, 120 pounds. 120 pounds it is.
Yeah. Remember, these models that you've bought in this game can be used in your other games as well.
Of course, yeah.
So it's an investment, or one-time investment.
Yes, yes. And then evil models, you've got Azog.
On the White Warg.
Yeah. Narzug. Yeah. Thimble the Hunter. 24 Hunter Orcs and 12 Hunter Orcs on Fell Wargs.
Yeah. So that's 2 of each box sets for the troops there. But again, you're going to use them in pretty much all the scenarios for this.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. So this is to represent the dwarves trying to escape down the river. Starting positions. The scenario is played out on both sides of the forest river and on the banks either side of it. So the river's got to be nice and wide for this, apparently. It's got to take up a big part of the
It's a river, not a stream after all.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a big, big river. Good play places the barrels in the river within 3 inches of the west board edge. Evil player then deploys his models anywhere on the board more than 24 inches away from the barrels.
Okay, makes sense.
So your objective, good player wins if Bilbo-Baggins and 9 more dwarves move off the board by the east edge. If the Hobbit is slain but 9 or more barrels are moved off, the game is a draw. Otherwise, evil side wins.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just reading some of the special rules, and I'm just giggling to myself because I'm getting these images in my head of what I'm going to see in the film, and it's going to be amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's been described as a bit of like a roller coastery kind of experience. Well, I can't wait for Friday.
It's going to be brilliant.
We've got how many days? 4 days.
3 days. This video goes out. This video goes out the day after.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've got like not long.
Yeah.
We've got not long until the sun. So if you want to go through the special rules, because you've been reading them,
yep.
Basically the evil models have got to try and kill Bilbo and more than 4 dwarves, is it?
I wasn't reading that.
Yeah, good player wins Bilbo and 9 more dwarves. Yes, you've got to kill a couple of dwarves. 3 dwarves.
So your special rules are bobbing along. Basically, the barrels don't have a set movement value. They move d6 inches plus 3, so you go minimum 4, maximum 10. So you might end up flying down the river with a couple of good rolls.
That's cool.
And that's to sort of represent the fact the river is
in
control of them, and has its own currents. A barrel that touches the river. Oh, what's this? Provided they don't have an evil model upon them. Barrels may also move up to d3 inches north or south. So that's the layout suggests having things in the way in the river, so you can't literally just go in a straight line down the middle and no one can reach you. You've actually got to try and navigate your way up the river. Next turn, roll a d6 and a 4+ may move as normal, and that's if you've hit a riverbank or an object and you stop once you've done that.
Otherwise, it doesn't move.
Yeah. So barrels move by the good player and are always moved at the end of the move phase. So you'll move everything beforehand. So you move all your evil, all your good, and then you'll move the barrels at the end.
So really, you want to try and keep your barrels away from the banks and away from the obstacles. It does. There are obstacles in the river. There's like little islands and stuff.
It does suggest the river sort of bends along the map, so you can't literally just go.
Yeah, this wouldn't be as fun if you've got like a straight river that, that's massive and there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
You do want to try and replicate the river that they built there.
Yeah. Good. The next special rule is something that this is what I was giggling at whilst you were describing the layout. This is Barrel Rider. Now, any infantry model may ride upon a barrel. So you imagine the dwarfs in the barrel and someone standing on top of the barrel with them. Mm-hmm. And you can do this by jumping, making a jump test onto the barrel. So this also counts if you're an evil model that's charging that barrel.
Right.
So you can get into combat, try and stab them as they're in there. So I can imagine in the film we're going to see some scenes with like weapons, they're just going, no.
Jumping on and falling off.
Yeah. So a model that loses a fight will automatically be pushed into the water, so it makes sense, then it's got to take a swim test. And models inside the barrel count as trapped.
Also, a model in the water can climb onto the barrel, so if you've got something swimming, you can try and climb up, doing a climb test.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I'm glad they've covered the basis of how this works.
Yeah, I really thought about this.
Yeah,
it's good.
And the barrels themselves a barrel can be shot in the normal way, except they always count as being in the way, which makes sense because you just duck behind the barrel. Evil models can either shoot the barrels or attack them in close combat instead of the occupants. Barrels have a defense of 6 and 3 wounds. Oh, so the barrels can be destroyed. If a barrel loses all of its wounds, remove it from play. The dwarf inside is too tight. Oh, so if you kill the barrel, you kill the dwarf.
Yeah. So you need to roll some 6s.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
It's good. Focus everything on one barrel.
Are hunter orcs not strength 4 as well?
Oh, you mean so when they're in combat,
they can strike the barrel.
I'm thinking more from a bowfire point of view.
Yeah.
You need to roll 6s. But
But in combat you need 5s and they get 2 strikes each. So you can potentially finish off a barrel. Then swimming is in your main rule books and everything can swim besides the dwarves.
Get that rule book.
So part 2 of Barrels Out Bond. Do you want to do the layout again or do the participants?
Yeah, this one is you've got more of a riverbank, so sort of 2/3 of the suggested board is actually land, and then you've got the river along the bottom. And participants, you've got Legolas again, Toriel, Keeley, the dwarf, 20 Mirkwood Rangers, and 10 Palace Guard.
Okay.
Interesting. And the evil models, again, you've got Azog, Narzug, Thimble, 24 Hunter Orcs, and 12 Hunter Orcs.
So the exact same force you used in the last scenario.
Yeah, for the evil. Yeah. For the evil, yeah. So, so This is to represent, as the fighting intensifies along the banks of the river, Keely, impetuous as ever, paddles his way to the shoreline, seeking to join in and finally rid Thorin's company of Azog's relentless pursuit.
So Keely's taking it upon himself to go and try and kill Azog because he's sick of Azog, getting in the way and stuff. What's going on today with him?
Because it's a little bit far away. Do you want to?
Maybe I'll bring it in a little bit. Whoa.
Bring it closer and then zoom out, maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that'll be better.
But here is a little bit better as well. Nice, closer to the mic.
Yeah. Good point. Ooh. Turn this up to 300%.
200 is the max you can go, but yeah.
So, in the layout, it looks like the good player places models first, anywhere on the eastern deployment zone. Evil player then deploys all of his models in the western deployment zone.
Yeah.
Finally, a good player places Keely the dwarf on the riverbank, equidistant from the two deployment zones. So it's literally right. If this screen is the map, you've got up here is all of the land, down here you've got the river, you've got evil, you've got good, and then you've got Keely is about here. He's about here. There you go, I hope that was good visualisation.
Yeah.
So how do you win this one?
Well, something I was thinking to mention is that all these scenarios are played on a 6x4 board. So they're very big, so you can get the full grand scale of things.
Mm-hmm.
For this scenario, the objectives is that Azog needs to kill Keely the dwarf along with the destruction of the elves. This may yet prove to be the day of great triumph for the Orc chieftain Azog. So Legolas and Toriel hope to save Keely as well as rid their borders of the Orc presence. The game ends when one force has been broken. The good player wins it at the end of the game. What? The good player wins if at the end of the game the evil army has been broken and Keely lives. If the good army has been broken at the end of the game and Keely has been slain, the evil player wins. Any other result is a draw. So
That's cool.
Keely's life is sort of like the decider of who wins.
It balances it, doesn't it? Yeah. So if you're good, keep Keely alive.
Bad, focus killing Keely and then try and break
And then
the
try and
elves.
break the elves as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool. And again, there's some more interesting special rules.
There is. An ill fate. With the prey in sight, Narzug hopes to procure his dread master's favour by slaying Keely the dwarf personally. Narzug has dipped his barbed arrows in a vile poison to aid him in the evil deed. If Keely the dwarf suffers a wound from the arrow fired by Narzug after fate rolls, he is immediately knocked prone. For the rest of the game, he may do nothing. If engaged in combat, he makes no duel rolls and will lose any fights. That's pretty grim.
That is pretty grim.
And I believe
I like it.
Narzug may be the one who can use a free might point to increase his shooting abilities.
Right, really?
So he can use a free might point to either hit in the ways or wound. For
That's
free.
going to be in the movie.
Yeah, well, I assume we'll see him get hit by an arrow by him at least.
And he's an unexpected journey release, but I'm guessing that's from back when it was 2 movies, not 3.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Shrewd Vigilance. The elves of Mirkwood often seek to capture enemy chieftains to discern their motives and movements of their foes. It's by torturing them, most likely.
Yeah.
The elves are twisted in this.
Mm.
If an evil hero is slain, treat them as incapacitated instead. Leave the model on the table, but not prone. The model may not move or perform any actions, so just like Keely, basically he's poisoned by the shot. Treat any elf models within 3 inches of the incapacitated hero as being in range of a banner, which is to show their determination of holding on to this objective.
Yeah. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. Also a good thing as well, there's some nice designer's notes in the corner. So for example, the designers recommended that even though the good player has an advantage when it comes to shooting, focusing too much on archery risks leaving Keely the dwarf exposed and unable to attack. It's nice to get little sort of tidbits like that, isn't it really?
It is.
Yeah, so another good scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to go on to the Battle of Dimrill Down. Now there are 3 parts to this. And this is basically the Battle of Eastgate.
It is, yeah, but it's focusing on 3 sections of the battle, so you can sort of play the full thing in sort of manageable components. Because if you've ever played a very large game of SBG, I know I have in the past, it can take a day, if not longer, and you start to lose your enthusiasm by the end of the day. When you're playing for 8 hours or so, you're like, I just don't care what happens to our gun anymore, or you sort of lose that magic.
500 points seems to be the sweet spot, doesn't
it?
The sweet kind of spot. However, this battle is actually an 800 points battle.
Yep.
So you've got 800 points on good, 800 points on evil. but you just have to include certain lists and
I
certain
think it's actually just a little bit bigger than that. I think it's about 1,000 point battle, if not larger. You've got, you've got all the heroes
up to
800 points of warriors.
Yeah.
So
Alright, so yeah, it's 800 points for the warriors, but
you get all your heroes included.
Get all your heroes included. So it's quite a big
Yeah.
deal, big battle.
These probably take you about 2 hours or so to play out, I would expect. That's what tournaments for 1,000 points is.
Yeah, 2 hours if you like, Jamie. This would be like a full day for me.
Yeah.
It
So
would
for
be a full day
good,
for me.
you take Thror, the last king under the mountain, Thrain, Thor in Oaken Shield without the Oaken Shield or Orcrist, Balin the Dwarf, Dwalin the Dwarf, and up to 800 points of warbands, excluding Captains of Dale and Warriors of Dale. You've got to have a pure dwarf army for this one. And for evil, you've got Azog, but without the White Warg, Fimble the Hunter, Narzug, Yazneg, and up to 800 points of warbands chosen from the Azog's Hunters army list. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, quite balanced or?
Yeah, balanced by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
It sounds like just a typical points match.
Now it recommends the board that you, it's quite an open board, maybe some rocky outcrops,
Yeah.
but just small, gently sloping as you go from east to west, and then with Eastgate itself in the middle of the east side. And the starting position, Evil deploys his entire army anywhere within that western board edge, so near the actual gate, because they're going to be blocking off the dwarves, aren't they?
I just played on a 48 by 48 inch board, so you played on a square board for this one.
Oh yeah, cool.
So back down from the 6x4 to the 4x4.
4x4.
Which is always nice. I like playing Lord of the Rings on a 4x4. It seems to fit the size of armies better than...
Yeah, until I met you guys, I don't think I'd ever played on a 4x4. I'd all been a 6x4, but and I was a little bit worried as a all cavalry.
You don't have that room to manoeuvre as much, do you?
That is, I think it's much better.
Yeah.
Much better. Much better.
The objectives are that Azog seeks to claim the head of Thror, and the game ends on the turn in which Azog or Thror have been slain or fled. So, you know, you really going out to kill the enemy general. So that sort of sever the head and kill the body sort of thing.
Yeah, so yeah, really it's sort of try and kill the leaders, because if Azog has been slain or fled and Thror is still alive, the good player wins, any other result is a draw. Evil player wins if Thror is dead and has fled and Azog still lives. So you want to keep your general alive and you want to kill the enemy general effectively. Now there are some special rules here. Long live the king. As Thror is still alive at this point, for the moment at least, Thrain receives no benefit from his Blood Feud special rule.
So that's a rule in his profile that allows him to re-roll any failed wounds against Azog's army.
Yeah, and if you don't have the profiles for... so are they all in this book, all of the profiles?
Not all the profiles, only the ones released in the Desolation of Smaug.
So if you want unexpected profiles, either get yourself the big rule book, or you can actually go on the Games Workshop site now, and there is a PDF that has got all of the unexpected journey profiles on, which is quite handy and helpful.
The web team have very kindly, as a sort of like an advent calendar gift, put all those profiles on, because they sort of realised they hadn't included them in the small rule book, and it sort of hindered people wanting to play.
I think it's quite important for a system which you know, it isn't as widely known to be popular as it, you know, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Whereas I can understand with sort of 40k and Warhammer being big systems that they want to protect those rules. I think it's really good if they're releasing things like that electronically for free, because it helps encourage people to get involved in that hobby. Yeah, which is good. There's another special rule here.
Yep. That's Moria Awakened, so orcs continue to pour from the Dimrill gate. At the end of each move phase, the evil player must roll a dice for every Gundabad orc warrior that's been slain earlier in the battle. On a 6, it is immediately re-enters as reinforcements, moving off the battlefield from that gate.
Woohoo!
So you could potentially just keep on coming out and out. So
that's quite...
The dwarves really need to be straight in there for Azog. You can't grind it out with this one.
No. You've got to really be aggressive. There's another one here which is also pretty cool. This is the Pale Orc. It's basically saying that Azog was unstoppable. He basically gets to fight a heroic combat free in every fight phase without expending might.
That's mental.
It's awesome. That is awesome.
Considering the fact that he can also... It's Azog that when he kills stuff, when he kills things, he gets increases. Like he gets terror. Is that Bolg?
I think that might be Bolg.
Well, sorry.
Check it out for us.
Gundabad Orc General.
Yeah, but no, but not the Bolg profile.
Yeah, the Bolg profile, yeah.
The Bolg profile, not the model. I saw. I think I mentioned this before, but I saw the Bolg model the other day. I've never seen it before. Yeah. Beautiful. Much better than the Azog model. Yeah. Much better. So yeah, that is pretty cool. The Pale Orc. There's another one here.
Yeah. Well, that's alright, interesting. Thror's Longbeard, so the warriors that have accompanied Thror on this battle to take, the Gate of Moria, all Grimhammer captains and Grimhammers gain the bodyguard special rule to Thror.
That's good.
So they're always going to be able to charge, and if you do get broken and Thror's still alive, they're all just going to stick around and fight some more.
That'd be quite a good way to improve Grimhammers slightly. Have a similar rule to the Thranduil and Palace Guard rule.
That they increase their fight value.
And do that for Grimhammers and Thror in their actual main profile.
Yeah.
Say if they are within
3 inches of Thror, they gain +1 fight value. That'd be quite a good way to
raise them up.
Yeah. Because Grimhammers are that unit that everyone sort of.
What do you think? Do you think that would be a good way to improve them? I mean, I think a good way to improve Grimhammers is to give them a burly, but that would be quite a good way. And so we're going to move on to part 2 of the Battle of Dimrill Dale. Loads of these scenarios are great, even just for reading them. Even if you never play them, they're going to be really fun to read.
Part 2, if you manage to kill Azog, he's back. And Thror died, regardless.
You can read this one.
Yeah. You go to the toilet?
Yeah, I'm going bathroom.
You go bathroom? Okay. First one, the layout is that the fighting takes place on the rugged slopes, so exact same layout. The starting positions are that the good player takes the 12 inches from the eastboard edge, evil takes the westboard edge, and the good player starts the game with priority. The objectives are that Thrain has mustered the dwarven holds for one purpose, to slay Azog and avenge the death of Thror, the last king of the mountain. However, the Pale Orc has not yet finished with the line of Durin, and he means to ensure that Thrain's fate is the same as his father's. The game ends at the end of the turn, of which either Azog or Thrain has been slain, so it's essentially the same as the last battle, but with Thrain and Azog. Your good participants are Thrain, Thorin, Balin and Dwalin, and this time 600 points of warriors. And for evil, it's Azog, Fimbul, Narzug, Yasne, to 600 points of warbands from the Azog Hunters list. The special rules are Mad with Grief. The death of Thror has driven Thrain mad, and the mere sight of his murderer sends him into a rage. Thrain must always charge an enemy if he's able to, and if Thrain can charge Azog the Defiler, he must charge him. The second special rule is for Vengeance. The Dwarven Holds have united under Thrain to avenge the death of his father, Thror, and if Thrain calls a heroic combat, all friendly dwarf models in the fight that is involved will benefit from his Blood Feud special rule. So that means all those dwarves are going to be re-rolling failed to wound rolls in that combat. So it's going to make your heroic combats that bit more potent because you've got the reliability of wounding. And then the Pale Orc, Azog was unstoppable as in the early stages of the battle, so Azog can still fight a heroic combat in every fight phase without expending might. So he's still ripping through everything. James is still not back, so I'm going to go on to part 3. And let's see, this time we have got Thorin Oakenshield without the Oakenshield of Orcrist. Oh, this time with the Oakenshield. Balin, Dwalin, and 24 warriors of Erebor versus Azog, 2 Gundabad Orc captains, and 36 Gundabad Orc warriors. Now, these are the new models that have their profiles in this sourcebook, and we'll discuss them in a later video. But the layout this time, it's played on a 4x4 board, and the good player is set up within 6 inches of the centre, and he will have to start 10 inches away from them. The evil player begins the game with priority, and the objectives are for Thorin Oakenshield. There is only one way to defeat the Orcs. Azog must die once and for all. Meanwhile, Azog seeks to slay the last of Durin's line to ensure that his victory over the dwarves will break their strength forever. The game ends at the turn in which Azog has been slain, or if Thorin has been slain, or the good army has been wiped out. So, just like the other two, it's Azog or nothing. Special rules for this one is the last of Durin's line. Just when all seemed lost for the dwarves, one amongst them rose to the occasion and spurred his kinsmen on to avenge their fallen lord. Got some more cereal?
I'm starving. No, it's not cereal. It's a healthy yogurt, natural.
Yogurt and bird feed.
Yogurt, nuts, honey, flaxseed. For winners. Yeah. Where are we up to? Part 3.
Yep, Thorin's Oakenshield Standfast has a range of 12 inches, and he also casts as a banner to all dwarves within 6 inches.
Nice.
And Moment of Glory, Thorin Oakenshield may make a heroic strike every fight phase without expending might.
That's cool.
And Azog no longer has his free heroic combat in this game, so this is really Thorin's moment to shine.
Yeah. And
that means Thorin can effectively combat Azog, because he's going to be rolling, well, Azog's fight 7, Thorin's fight 6, so he's going to be at least fight 7 for each fight phase.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. And that is the...
Nice pictures in this scenario as well of the new Gundabad orcs.
Yes, yeah. They've got some... The only thing that really confuses me about them is their helmets.
Yeah.
They kind of look like chef hats.
I see what you mean.
I just don't... I
wonder if they're gonna...
I don't get it.
I wonder if they're based... They must look like that in the movie.
Yeah, Weta must have designed that. They almost... If you've seen Alien, they kind of look like that sort of extra long head armour that aliens have. They look weird. You'll see in your books and you'll see on the models themselves on the Games Workshop website, but
they look big.
Yeah, they look very big. They look almost the same size as Azog. Yeah, it's obviously Weta's design and you can't fault Games Workshop for it. I think this is the only thing I've seen that Weta's designed for The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings that I've gone a bit on. I'll see them in the film and I'm sure I'll love them straight away afterwards.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to the film. Now, that takes us to the end. And a big long video that.
Very long video.
Very long video.
How long are we looking at? We're looking probably about 30 minutes for that video.
Yeah. If you've not got yourself one of these source books, I hope that you can pick them up.
Yeah.
And I hope that you were reading it while we were reading it and sort of joining in with the conversation, because this is a conversation. We want to hear what you think about the new Journey scenarios. As always, this has been James and Jamie from the Great British Hobbit League YouTube channel.
Yep. Make sure you comment, share and subscribe, and we'll see you for our next video, which will be Games in Mirkwood and the 3 new scenarios.
Support your Hobbit hobby and happy strategy battle gaming.